motion to come out of closed session, please?
So moved. Second.
Please rise for the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. The first order of business tonight is that we'll be swearing in our two board members, Mrs. Shields and Mrs. Smith. So, Mrs. Shields.
Solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey.
And that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States.
And that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States.
I, Larissa Smith, do solemnly swear that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of member of the Board of Education.
And not disqualified as a voter pursuant to RS 19-4-1.
And not disqualified as a voter pursuant to RS 19-4-1.
And that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of that office according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
first nomination. Yes?
Mrs. Susoli?
Can I get a second on that?
Yes, second.
Are there any other nominations for president? Can I get a motion then to close nominations?
So moved.
Second? Okay. Taking a roll call now. Mrs. Brooks?
Yes.
Mrs. Jericho?
Yes.
Mrs. Halbert?
Yes.
Mrs. Mezak?
Yes.
Mrs. Salmon?
Abstain.
So noted. Mrs. Shields?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Thank you, everybody. I do look forward to working together with you as we did last year, and we continue to strive to accomplish our goals, and I appreciate the confidence you have in me. I look forward to a great year, so thank you. Moving now to the nomination for Vice President. May I have a motion, please, for a first nomination?
So moved. Mrs. Nancy Jericho.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Helber? Oh, Mrs. Shields. May I have another nomination? If not, may I have a motion then to close the nominations for Vice President?
So moved.
Mrs. Brooks?
Second.
Mrs. Helber? Mrs. Uchich? May I have a roll call vote, please?
Mrs. Brooks?
Yes.
Mrs. Jericho?
Abstain.
So noted. Mrs. Halbert?
Yes.
Mrs. Mezak?
Yes.
Mrs. Salmi?
Yes.
Mrs. Shields?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
So for 2019, our board president will be Mrs. Salmi, and our board vice president is Mrs. Jericho.
Continuing on then with the reorg part of the meeting. Included in this section is also board meeting location, the designation of the dates and times of meetings, the newspapers, the policy manual, the code of ethics, and Robert's rules. May I have a motion, please, to discuss these items?
So moved.
Mrs. Brooks. Second. Mrs. Jericho. So numbers 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 are open now for board discussion.
My one question is, we had made a decision to change to November 6th, which is right before the teachers' convention. So I was just wondering, if that was something that we knew a lot of teachers attended on the Thursday and Friday. So
believe that we did it that way this year as well. That's the way the calendar fell.
Okay.
It hasn't been a problem in the past, but certainly when we open it up to the public, if we hear from the RTEA that there's a concern, perhaps we can address it then.
Okay.
Did you have an alternative date if we didn't do November 6th?
I
In
was
mind?
thinking to do. I know we had originally switched, I guess, from these dates because of Thanksgiving.
Yes.
So I had been thinking that we could try instead the Tuesday, the 26th and November 13th instead of the 6th.
Is that conference week?
I'm not sure.
So I don't know what the conference schedule would be and if there'd be a I don't know what the Copeland schedule would be, because I know Copeland would be an issue in terms of space and parking if we did that.
Okay, we did it at the
Yeah,
same
we have to
time.
look at that on
Okay.
conference schedules
I don't
and
know
stuff.
if we could establish.
But that's something to consider, going forward. Any other concerns with dates?
Another concern I did have was, I had to double check some of these dates, but I believe there are conflicts with the Morris County board meetings. And ideally we would be able to attend some of those. I know I wasn't allowed, I wasn't able to attend any of them last year because obviously this does take precedence. So I was just wondering, if that, as that time is getting closer, if it's possible to change some of those.
I think it's difficult to keep changing dates. I think we have to declare our dates. In terms of the Morris County School Boards Association, and I think I mentioned this before, having been to a lot of those meetings, they're always on, they always seem to fall on the Wednesday of our meetings, and I suggested many a time that they as a county association could alternate dates so that it's not just our Board of Education, there are other boards of education that meet on Wednesdays who also can't come. So they never did that. I think our first priority is to our home district, so I think we need to be as consistent as possible. That's my
opinion. I don't know how the board feels.
Is it possible to write a letter from our board in total, to Morris County Association, saying that as it's an entire body, other than just one person's one?
Like that, board, that's fine. I mean, we can do that.
Maybe that would help.
I can certainly send an email to Patty who coordinates it all. I'll copy you all in the email so you see it and request that further consideration be given to those boards that meet on Wednesdays.
That'd be a good idea.
Thank you. Sure.
Anything else?
You have newspapers or dates?
For the newspaper, is the neighbor news official?
You know, this is an interesting thing because for years, the board always wanted to make the neighbor news one of the papers, the official papers. We were told that a paper that comes out only once a week doesn't count. Now, I don't know how true that is, because we were told by our attorney that that's not legal.
I would also think the issue would be not everyone even in Rockaway Township receives the same neighbor news.
There's different editions. There's a Dover edition, there's a Rockaway Denville edition, and Montville. So,
The spread that just went out, I saw that and it was wonderfully done and I know that, we're in there, so I didn't know if that was.
what if we didn't make it the official, but we also posted in there? So that way we'd still be covering them and we couldn't get into trouble for not being legal if it didn't come out every day as the daily paper. Would that be okay? Can we do that going forward? Or
Does every, all of those sections get?
We can ask that, all of those editions. There's 2 editions that cover, all of Rockaway Township.
One of my colleagues that works in, or that lives in, Montclair, she brought it in for me, and I was like, how did you get this? Because
So
it's
it's
probably one of those
edition?
other, ones.
anything else in those? One second. Any other
approve numbers 2 through 7.
So moved.
Mrs. Brooks?
Second.
Okay, roll call?
Mrs. Brooks?
Yes.
Mrs. Jericho?
Yes.
Mrs. Halberg?
Yes.
Mrs. Mezak?
Yes.
Mrs. Salmi?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Shields?
Yes.
Moving on to public discussion. During the course of the board meeting, the Rockaway Township Board of Education offers members of the public an opportunity to address issues regarding the operation of the Rockaway Township Public Schools. The board reminds those individuals who take this opportunity to identify themselves by name and address and to limit their comments to items listed on the agenda and/or items directly related to the operation of the school district. Issues raised by members of the public may or may not be responded to by the board. All comments will be considered and a response will be forthcoming if and when appropriate. The board asks that members of the public be courteous and mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking. Specifically, comments regarding students and employees of the board are discouraged and will not be responded to by the board. Students and employees have specific legal rights afforded by the laws of New Jersey. The board bears no responsibility, nor will it be liable for any comments made by members of the public. Members of the public should consider their comments in light of the legal rights of those affected or identified in the comments and be aware that they are legally responsible and liable for their comments. May I have a motion, please, to open it up to the public?
So moved.
Mrs. Brooks?
Second.
Mrs. Halborg, second. Anyone from the public wish to address the board on any item? May I have a motion to close to the public?
So moved.
Mrs. Brooks?
Second.
Mrs. Mezak? Moving on to communications. Were there any additional communications? Moving on to the minutes on page 6. Approve the minutes of December 12th. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Mrs. Brooks? Second. Mrs. Jericho? Any board discussion on the minutes of December 12th? Not, roll call, please.
Mrs. Brooks?
Yes.
Mrs. Jericho?
Yes.
Mrs. Halberg?
Please let the record state that I rescind my vote under the administration number 2 as an abstention. Sorry.
So noted. Mrs. Mezak?
Yes.
Mrs. Salmi?
Yes.
Mrs. Shields?
Abstain.
So noted. Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Motion passes. Moving on to superintendent.
Thank you. I'd like to extend my congratulations to Ms. Solney, our new continuing board president, and our vice president, Ms. Jericho, on their election this evening. And I'd like to extend my congratulations to both Ms. Smith and Ms. Shields as they begin their new terms of office. I look forward to working closely with our officers and the entire board as we begin a new calendar year. Prior to the holiday recess, I attended the Garden State Coalition of Schools meeting where Senate President Steve Sweeney discussed the bipartisan Path to Progress report on New Jersey fiscal reform. I have provided a copy of the report to members of the board, and some major points that I'd like to highlight from that discussion with the Senate President regarding this plan include the Cadillac tax on health benefits is due to be enacted in 2022. That'll have repercussions for both the state and for individual employees who contribute to those plans, as well as the district. For those who are not vested in our pension system, which is defined as 5 years of vesting, a hybrid system is proposed that will be created where the first $40,000 would be pensionable and the remaining salary could contribute to a 403B type plan. A number of recommendations were made relative to teacher retiree health care. Increases are expected in extraordinary aid for special education, as well as some structural changes as far as what would be delegated to the state for decision making. There are no changes that are expected in the 2% state cap on school district tax levy. A large focus will occur on regionalization, which is a big theme of the report. particularly for those K-8 districts with 500 or fewer students. And the other piece that helped to do somewhat with regionalization was the proposal to establish 2 county-wide school district pilot programs. So those were some takeaways from that discussion. It's in the report, it's online for anyone who'd like to look at that. I did follow up with school boards in regard to when they felt this particular plan would start to be discussed a little bit more actively. And they felt that with it was the Garden State Coalition I called, their understanding was with the budget address and whenever the State of the Union address for New Jersey occurs, that we'll probably see some greater activity occur in regard to this bipartisan plan. So I did want to make the board and our community aware of some important highlights from that. In the area of communication, it is my hope that our community has had the opportunity to visit the district's new website. In addition to the new platform, the district has altered its internal system of updates to help ensure each school website and the district website is kept as current and as informative as possible. To this end, training has been provided to school and department secretaries as well as to our district administrators so that web-based changes can be made by individuals on a direct and immediate basis. And as you may know, I did send out a message earlier this morning asking our school community to alert us to any bumps in the road, any issues that they're encountering with the new website. I'd like to thank those who have contacted us already and those who may do so, and let you know that certainly we are attending to those issues as they appear, and a number of those issues have already been resolved. In addition to our new website, the district published a December newsletter, as we mentioned just a little bit earlier, insert into the neighbor news. That's practice that we plan to further develop, and we would like to continue on an increasing basis. Our parent forums also continue, and our next meeting will be scheduled for January the 9th at 8:45 a.m. at Dwyer School. We are doing a couple of morning meetings as well as evening meetings for the forums. And all the forums are published on the website. I do want to make note of one change that will occur in June. The June forum will now take place on June 13th due to a conflict with our scheduled board meeting. On tonight's agenda, I am happy to highlight the approval of 3 new floater substitutes. These individuals will regularly report for substitute duties 4 days a week. And I'd like to again thank the board for their support of this initiative to procure qualified substitutes to address the issues we, like so many districts, are facing in this critically important area. Relative to this topic, it's important to reinforce that all district substitutes are interviewed, receive a full background check, and receive an orientation training inclusive of safety and crisis procedures. We are committed to having the most qualified and dependable substitute teachers in our district, while at the same time expanding our recruitment efforts. I'm happy to highlight the approval of a number of new class and student assistants on tonight's agenda. And as the board is aware, this too has been an area of need. I thank our school principals for their concerted efforts to fill these critically important positions with individuals who make such a difference in the success of our students. And in closing, I'd like to extend a sincere Happy New Year to all the members of the board, our staff, our students, and our parent community. 2019 promises to be a positive year that is full of promise for our school district and the families we serve. I would like to share an inspiration that was recently sent to me by one of our elementary teachers, who stated that in Rockaway Township we have been given a gift of believe. And I think this word says so much, and it certainly resonated with me. It conveys that we believe in the ability and the promise of each of our students. It conveys that we believe in the talents that our professional community possesses. And it conveys a belief and a trust of one another that is inclusive of our governing body, our administration, our faculty, our staff, and our parent community, that we are working in tandem and toward the same ambitious goals for our students with a confidence that we can achieve whatever we set our minds to as long as we do it together. It's a rare gift and one that I'm sincerely appreciative of and grateful to be a part of. And that completes my report.
Any questions for Dr.? If not, Mrs.
Good evening and Happy New Year to all. I have an update on our district projects. Stony Brook final inspection for the town with the HVAC is scheduled for this Friday, January 4th. Telephone installation is still moving along. The only school not completed is Dwyer. I believe the issue that was holding up the final cutover has been rectified today, so hopefully we will see some progress there soon. The central office and maintenance building are scheduled for next week. Stony Brook window project will be delayed. The windows are not ready for shipping. We are now looking at a start time for this project approximately the end of February or beginning of March. Since masonry work will be involved in installing some of the classroom windows, it might be to our advantage as the end of the project will be in the warmer spring months. We will begin the process of meeting with the principals next week to go over the budgets for the 1920 school year. At that time, we will also speak to each principal about the repairs and upgrades they would like to see for their buildings. Finally, we are hoping to have the new salary guides in place so that the January 15th payroll will reflect the new salaries. Timesheets, which are more labor intensive, may take another pay cycle to reflect the new rates. Rest assured, Allison in payroll is doing her best to get the raises done and the W-2s out in the timeliest possible. We thank the association for their patience as we move through this process. And that concludes my report for this evening.
Thank you. Any questions? Mrs. Miller? If not, Vivian?
Good evening. I hope everyone is well, and I would like to begin this evening by also wishing everyone a Happy New Year. 2019 does promise to be filled with many exciting opportunities and experiences for our students, our teachers, our leaders, and families. I'm thrilled about the prospect of working with all of these stakeholders in the new year to ensure Rockaway Township Public Schools remains on a path towards excellence that we will all be proud of. Toward that end, there are several resolutions on the agenda this evening related to exciting work we will be undertaking in the new year. First, in preparation for our QSAC review, something I previewed in my last board report, and to ensure we are providing our teachers with the highest quality and most helpful curriculum resources, the board will consider adopting a curriculum appendix. This appendix will provide all of our curriculum documents with more precise strategies for modifications and accommodations for specific subgroup populations of our students. Second, there is a resolution to bring on new professional development resources for our ESL teachers that will include an overall needs assessment, on-site professional development on January 21st, and future planning for how we might expand our services in both ESL and bilingual education in the future. Next, there is a resolution to repurpose funds within our budget for curriculum initiatives to bring on a curriculum literacy coach to lead the rewriting of our K-5 literacy curriculum. This project will launch in January when Ms. Gregory meets with our K-5 teachers to gather their feedback and perspective about the essential elements of a K-5 literacy curriculum. Ms. Gregory will then integrate this feedback with her knowledge and expertise in this area to draft Tier 3 UPD curriculum documents that will guide our implementation of a 120-minute literacy block in September of 2019. Ms. Gregory's work will complement the work of our two literacy coaches to ensure we are providing our teachers with sustainable professional development in the areas of both instruction and curriculum. Before turning my full attention to the work ahead, I would like to acknowledge the inspiring work of our art and music teachers and their many students and the work of their many students during the recent holiday season. Our community was blessed with countless musical performances and beautiful art displays during the month of December, and behind every performance and work of art were countless hours our students worked with their teachers to ensure their performances and art exemplified a level of excellence we're all proud of. The performances and artwork over the holiday season were nothing less than an inspiration and a cause for much joy. The month of January includes 2 in-service professional development opportunities for our staff. We are scheduled for an early dismissal on January 9th that will provide our staff with 90 minutes of professional development. We will then follow this experience with a full day of in-service on Monday, January 21st, when our schools are closed in memory of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Planning has been underway to ensure these professional development experiences are connected with our district goals and staff professional development goals. For our elementary teachers, January 9th and 21st will be opportunities for them to meet our instructional coaches and curriculum coach, be introduced to a vision for sustainable professional development, and begin to provide us with feedback about the essential elements of a 120-minute literacy block. Indeed, January 9th marks the date Dr. McLaughlin and I committed to during our convocation speech for providing our staff with a vision for our approach to elementary ELA curriculum and instruction. I am thrilled we will be able to deliver on this pledge. I am also deeply appreciative and humbled by the countless contributions our teachers and leaders made over the past several months to get us to this point. Specifically, 29 of our teachers volunteered many hours to serve in our Literacy Think Tank Committee. This committee met in person 4 times, with each subcommittee meeting in person for many additional hours. These teachers provided robust feedback, thereby breathing energy and excitement into this new initiative. From this feedback, some very important themes emerged where we found consensus. For example, there was general consensus about the importance of great expectations for all students and the belief in all students to meet these expectations. At one point, a committee member commented, if we expect them to do it, they will do it. There was also general consensus that it is important students be able to make their own decisions in a classroom environment toward greater levels of empowerment. The committee also discussed the importance of positive and specific feedback to students during instruction, which aligned with the research framework we used. And there was also consensus about the importance of practice and the importance of time within literacy instruction so students are able to practice, hence the move to a 120-minute literacy block. The committee also agreed that one size never fits all. Therefore, first and foremost, our model for literacy instruction must be a student-centered model with aggressive early monitoring to identify students in need of early intervention. There were also areas where consensus was not reached and deliberation continues. As we stated early on in the process, there would be times we would need to agree to disagree. I also reminded the group the importance for us all to continue to listen and learn from each other as the professional development unfolds over the next several months. After all, our success will not be measured by how we introduce one program instead of another. Rather, our success will be measured by how well we build a professional environment in our elementary schools centered on excellence in the area of literacy curriculum and instruction. This will be, I should say, the habits that we will build over time. I would like to conclude my remarks this evening by acknowledging by name the 29 of those teachers that served on our Literacy Think Tank. Without their efforts, we would not be prepared to begin an exciting new chapter for our district on January 9th. Those educators are Susan Andrews, Sharon Cohen, Mary Beth Hartnett, Terry Soliski, Katie Rasmussen, Kelly Stevens, Kelly Bezig, Michelle Cortez, Karen Renard, Kelly McAvoy, Marie Vark-Lepane, Lynn Cajano, Jennifer Bruner, Christine Garabrandt, Sherilyn Paradis, Suzanne Pollock, Marie Martinez, Beth Daly, Caitlin Riveri, Deb Kramer, Anne Marie Arricchio, Dawn Franprise, Suzanne Barcali, Karen Iacoviano, Joan Young, Marie Honorevole, Dawn Marchese, and Amy Hoffenagel. I thank those educators for their commitment, and with that I conclude my comments for this evening.
Any questions or comments? What is our current literacy block time?
90 minutes.
And I just want to say I had the pleasure of attending the reception at Copeland's for the holiday concerts, which I enjoyed very much.
Okay, moving that on to committee reports. changing, but we will be announcing the committees by the time we have the next public session. So, and I'll alert the board members prior to, so you know. And there might even be some dates going back and forth once the committees are set up, so we can talk about that. Moving on then, recommended for board action, beginning we're on personnel, beginning on page 6, ending on page 9. By law, there could be no discussion, no public discussion. Discussion has already been had during executive session. So first of all, may I have a motion, please, for personnel?
So moved.
Mrs. Brooks?
Second.
Mrs. Shields? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Brooks?
Yes.
Mrs. Chirico?
Yes.
Mrs. Helberg?
Yes.
Mrs. Mezak?
Yes.
Mrs. Selmy?
Yes.
Mrs. Shields?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Moving on to HIV determination, there'll also be no public discussion. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Mrs. Brooks?
Second.
Mrs. Messick? Do you want to make any comments?
Yes, thank you. In executive session, we did discuss for the first time current investigations, number 19, which is unconfirmed, number 20, which is confirmed, and number 21, which is unconfirmed, and we'll vote on those at the next meeting.
So tonight, we are then going to affirm HIV case number 2018-18 as confirmed. May I have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Brooks?
Yes.
Mrs. Chirico?
Yes.
Mrs. Helberg?
Yes.
Mrs. Mezak?
Yes.
Mrs. Selmy?
Yes.
Mrs. Shields?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Passes. Moving on to education, beginning on page 9, ending on page 10. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second, Mrs. Brooks, Mrs. Jericho. Board discussion? Just a comment, does Montclair require fingerprinting of student teachers, or are we going to do it? How are we doing that with student teachers, now that we're getting student teachers back?
Yes, we are requiring of all. Yep.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? I can open up to the public if there's any comments or concerns about section on education. If not, may I have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Brooks?
Yes.
Mrs. Chirico?
Yes.
Mrs. Helberg?
Yes.
Mrs. Mezak?
Yes.
Mrs. Selmy?
Yes.
Mrs. Shields?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Motion passes. Moving on to special education, beginning on page 10, ending on page 11. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Mrs. Brooks?
Second.
Mrs. Smith? Everybody's voices. Sorry about that. Board discussion? If not, I can open it to the public. If not, may I have then a roll call, please?
Mrs. Brooks?
Yes.
Mrs. Chirico?
Yes.
Mrs. Helberg?
Yes.
Mrs. Mezak?
Yes.
Mrs. Selmy?
Yes.
Mrs. Shields?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Motion passes. Administration, there is none. We then move to page 12. Finance, beginning on page 12, ending on page 12. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Mrs. Brooks? Second. Mrs. Jericho? Do you want to read this in? We do have one that's a motion that has been brought in for this evening.
Yes, number 3, will approve Swing Education Incorporated. Motion to approve the agreement between the Rockaway Township Board of Education and Swing Education Incorporated to provide additional substitute services as needed for the 2018-19 school year at the district rate plus a 35% service fee.
Questions?
I have one. Number 2, the transfer for the furnace replacement, what school is that for?
That's for the bus garage.
Bus garage.
And for the public, Dr. McLaughlin, can you explain what the Swing Education is all about?
Yes, they're an agency that provides substitute services in the event the district is not able to fully staff our vacancies on a given day. This provides us with another alternative, and this agency would then supply qualified substitutes, again, who have had background checks and have had orientation, and have met all the requirements and possess substitute certification, would be able to come into school and supplement our existing substitute staff.
So they actually are being employed by Swing, not by us?
That's correct.
So we pay Swing and Swing pays them, okay?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
I can open to the public. Public has any comments or concerns? If not, roll call please.
Mrs. Brooks?
Yes.
Mrs. Chirico?
Yes.
Mrs. Helberg?
Yes.
Mrs. Mezak?
Yes.
Mrs. Salmi?
Yes.
Mrs. Shields?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Moving on to policy,
Beginning on page 12 and ending on page 13. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Mrs. Brooks?
Second.
Mrs. Halford?
since we have no policy chair,
I would be glad to do it.
let's go right ahead.
Okay, these were policies that we reviewed back last year in December, and a lot of them are review and readoption based on recommendation of administration, and because Dr. Rockaway is looking through all of our policies on the 3, 4, 5,000s, and anything that has really not been looked at since January of 2013, we are reviewing and readopting. So the abolishing positions has no changes. The next one, assignment of additional duties. We did change a little wording. We put from teaching staff member, we put internal candidates, and we have also taken out the sentence, wherever possible, the board will fill athletic coaching positions with physical education teachers. We wanted it open to all teachers, internal candidates. Conduct of reduction in force, there was no changes. Discipline, there was no changes. Examination for cause, no changes. Code of ethics, there was no changes. And consulting outside the district, there was no changes. And then, the last one, consulting outside the district. It was not, and then student suicide prevention was based on an April 18th advisory, and there was minor changes in the third paragraph. It went from superintendent to principal or designee as the person, and there was little changing in the second paragraph. It's bolded that the principal or designee shall review the findings with the parent by phone or in person and make recommendations. Any assessment that is medium to high risk will warrant an in-person meeting was added to that paragraph. And that was it.
Any board discussion? So the public understands, those of you who haven't been here before, this is the first read of these policies. They're not approved until there's a second read. That would be the next meeting. There's time to, we're changing wording or concepts or what have you between today and the next meeting, unless of course then it's tabled as well. When we put policies up, each time we have a meeting, you can go online and see the policies that are going to be discussed. Anything bolded is new wording. Anything crossed out obviously is being eliminated. So that's there for you to see before you come to a meeting, so you have a better understanding of what's going on. So by approving these tonight for a first read, all that means is they'll be back on the table again 2 weeks from now, but there might be changes between now and then, or even then, at the next meeting with discussion. So with that, may I have your roll call, please?
Mrs. Brooks?
Yes.
Mrs. Chirico?
Yes.
Mrs. Helberg?
Yes.
Mrs. Mezak?
Yes.
Mrs. Salmi?
Yes.
Mrs. Shields?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
And I just realized I never opened up that to the public, so since this is a second read, we have time. Is there anyone from the public who has a comment about the policies? Apologies, my mistake. Well, that's good, thank you for saving me. Okay. Moving on then to old business. Any old business? Mrs. Brooks?
Can I have a status update on my bus tour?
We haven't gone to Jefferson yet to look at them. We'll be going shortly. I will make arrangements switch buses and bring a couple of our buses over there and let them take their buses, but they don't have their brake endorsements, so their drivers can't drive our buses, basically. So we will have to just make time during the day to go over there. And get a couple of bus drivers, they're able to test drive those buses. Don't have their brake endorsements. So we will do
To see if we could like purchase those buses with the cameras already in them, or?
well, some of, what we plan to do is, because they're costly, we're going to start off with some of the higher traffic bus routes. And put them, install them in those buses first. And then seeing how well that works out and how everybody feels about that, we're going to do that.
But we can retrofit the cameras on the
Yes,
outside of our buses
Jefferson.
without losing any ability of the cameras within the buses.
Correct.
Previously, you told us that we need to remove an interior camera to allow a port for an exterior camera. So we shouldn't have that issue.
To my knowledge, Jefferson has not done that. I've had the conversations with them about it.
We're hoping to be able to retrofit by spring, by next school year, any timeline, any thought process.
I think we'd like to try that before the end of this school year, because that would give us knowledge in terms of whether or not we want to expand it. We're looking at quality of images, what the range is in terms of what we're able to take an image from, particularly in areas where a violator is going to pass the bus, which is obviously our biggest concern.
Thank you.
It would be a budget item too, so we definitely have to consider before March, whether we want, a lot of money for that. We're allocating that.
Any other old business? New business?
To echo on to the assistant superintendent, I was lucky enough to be able to attend several of the winter concerts, Copeland Band, Jazz Band, Wind Ensemble, and Marcel's, Stony Brook's, DPO's, Dwyer's, Copeland Holiday Reception. Just wanted to reiterate how lucky we are to have such quality music instruction. I was especially interested actually in something that happened at Dwyer. She incorporated some very interesting elements into their concert. One, in fact, was the electric drill. So if you haven't seen a musical concert, you've seen it with the drill. I'm also looking forward to the symphony grade course and strings next week, and the 6th grade band strings and chorus. That'll be awesome.
I believe that date was changed, the location was changed.
Yes.
So it's cool.
Anything else?
I have something, I actually just registered to view a vaping webinar regarding policy and legal implications. And it's through the New Jersey School Boards. It'll be occurring on January 8th at 10 a.m.
That's great. Look forward to hearing, educating us. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
sure. And then Tanya and I are attending, coming up soon, a weekend training so that we can learn more about, our roles here as organizations.
It's a wonderful opportunity, and you will gain a lot and just bring a lot of warm hugs. It's always full there.
That's what I was saying. It's good because I'm always warm.
Okay, no problem. You'll fit right in.
Anything else?
If not, I can certainly open it up to the public if anybody wishes to address the board on any issue or concern. 1 second, please. May I have a motion, please, to open to the public?
So moved.
Mrs. Rhodes, second. Mrs. Smith, a second. Okay, please.
Hi, my name is Susan Martucci, and I have a question. I see that you are approving ESY, and I wanted to know if you have a dyslexic specialist approved per child's IEP.
Right now, we're approving the dates, program recommendations will be forthcoming once the IEP meetings have been held in January and February, but we'll staff whatever we need to staff.
What about meetings that were already occurred and that it's been recommended?
Obviously, if it's built into the IEP, we'll make sure that we have the services that are required by the IEP.
And another question, what multisensory reading program do you have? that is funded under special ed for special ed students in Rockaway Township?
The way that programs really need to work is that when they're identified through an IEP by the IEP team, those programs are provided. They're provided through whatever funding mechanisms the district uses, whether it's through local budget or whether it's through IDEA monies. The source really isn't the important piece. And the important piece is making sure that we follow through on what the recommendations are to the IEP.
Right. I mean, I know that the academic intervention is funded under Gen Ed. So, and that's the dyslexic specialist, which has the training in Orin Gillingham. But what are we actually doing for students that are in special ed? Right now, they're using Project Read. So, why is it that Gen Ed gets Orin Gillingham and special ed
Well,
gets?
we're moving away from that model. I know that was a previous model, but we've made significant efforts to move away from that. So we do have some students who are being serviced through a dyslexic specialist. We may have more in the future, depending on what the IEPs say. We're committed to training our own teachers here, but we're also open to securing services if we don't have them available in the district.
And are you following a tier model in terms of intensity? For reading, in terms of intensity, for the duration of how many days, frequency a student would receive her services?
Yeah, again, the approach would be dictated by the student and the student's need.
Okay, so if the child was to be in a special ed class and receive it every day, but yet the multisensory reading program wasn't actually meeting their needs, and then they were receiving services in the Gen Ed, would that be considered a tier 3 because they were removed, but the program in that special ed?
I'll provide a response to that, and I think you emailed me earlier.
Yes, we will meet for sure.
We can sit down individually and discuss it. But as a general approach, tiers typically refer to intervention models. So the RTI program is built on a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. We're committed to a new RTI model in the district. We've started that. We're populating the tiers, tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 at this time, so that they're representative both of our community and what best practices in terms of level of intervention. We're doing that, and one of the, before, when Dr. Tanamian mentioned our think tank and the subcommittees, we have a particular subcommittee that's dedicated to intervention. They've been doing a lot of work, research, and working in tandem with our special ed department as well to create that model in the district. But it's not quick work, and we don't want to slap it together. We want to make sure that what we put together is meaningful.
Right. And what is best practice in terms of intensity?
Right.
Well, that's what I was asking.
Right.
You had said it. So what is Rockaway's?
Yes.
What
Yes.
is it? Is
Well,
it 2, 3, 4? What's best
Again,
practice?
I think that's going to depend on the student, and that's why I say I think our discussion individually will be probably more productive to the answers that you're looking for right now.
Because I mean, I guess the research that I've been reading, best practice is 3 to 5 times a week. Anything less, there really isn't. The consistency isn't there, because then you have to, if the teacher is out, school is closed, the consistency isn't there if the child isn't receiving those services per an IEP.
Yeah, I'd be happy to see whatever you may have come up with.
Yeah, you will. Thank you.
Can you please state your name and address? Mine?
Yes.
Yes, please. 30 Seminole, Susan Merlucci, 30 Seminole, Rockaway.
Anyone else? We have a motion then to close the public?
So moved.
Mrs. Jericho?
Second.
Mrs. Brooks? The board does need to go back into executive session for special education matters, legal matters. We will return, but no decisions are going to be made, and we will close the public session at that time. But there'll be no vote, no decisions made.